Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we just finished docking these guys up in space here, and we are of course going to have to bring them home, because we were just here to complete the contract. So first things first, we are going to go ahead and decouple here. So we'll undock. Perfect. And then we will take this just straight retrograde, and we're going to bring these back one at a time. So, I mean, we've got lots of Delta V here. As expected, this is entirely overkill. But we'll just go ahead and warp over to this node here. There we go. And we will go ahead and burn here. Cool. Let's go ahead and separate. And what is our Periapsis? Oh, that's really low. Actually, that's too low. So we're going to need to turn around here and burn prograde. But yeah, you can see that we're kind of pointing directly at what we just decoupled from. So we're going to burn over this way just a little bit first, until we clear it, at which point we will bring our... We still got the KER here. That's weird. Maybe it's something to do with Jeb's skill? I don't know. At any rate, our Periapsis, we're going to bring that up to around 20 kilometers. I should have paid attention to that when I was burning. For some reason, I thought that we would need the entire tank to get to that point, but we did not. So we're burning prograde here just to put a little bit more air between us and the ground. And then we'll flip back to retrograde. Fantastic. And we will go ahead and warp forward until we hit Atmo. Now, we can certainly bring back this entire contraption here. There's no problem with that. So we're just going to go ahead and warp forward here until we start seeing substantial heating effects. And then we'll do a braking burn. We have tons of Delta V here. Like, we have 1,200 meters per second. Not a problem in the slightest. So we'll come on down, with our Periapsis now down to 19 kilometers. Excellent. We're still speeding up. That is to be expected. We'll do a re-entry burn here pretty soon. I know we've already technically re-entered, but we're going to wait a bit on that. Just utilizing as much air resistance as we can. Oh, hello. We're starting to slow down. That's great. And now that we're starting to see some plasma from our re-entry here, we'll go ahead and burn. And, I mean, we can burn until there's like 10 seconds left on this if we wanted to. It would be a pretty extensive burn, there's no doubt about that, but this is completely fine. Keep in mind, we're not necessarily planning to re-enter using this. If we really wanted to, we could also burn RCS to slow down here, but that's really deeply unnecessary. We really, really don't need to do that. So that'll be just fine to not do. We're currently moving at about 1,800 meters per second, and we're still 40 kilometers up here. So not a big deal. But we'll just try to bring this back fairly quickly here. 1,600 meters per second. In fact, we could probably physics warp here safely. Okay, we're going to stop the burn at 10 seconds remaining. There we go. And we drop into surface mode. Nice. We are decelerating a little bit, but we're still quite high right now. So you can see we are aiming for this water. We're actually going to land right by the right by the KSC. That was entirely unplanned. Purely coincidental. And the other one will likely not do that as well. But that's quite a coincidence, actually. I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, that's good for our recovery costs, too. Drogue chutes are out, followed by main chutes in a moment. And we probably won't even need to do any propulsive landing. It's probably fine. SAS can go off. Main chutes are out. And yeah, we're going to be splashing down in the water right next to the KSC. I love it. That was completely by accident. No, I'm kidding. I planned it. The whole thing was planned. 100%. You can tell by how precise it was. Imagine if we were landing on the launch pad. That would have been insane. I mean, it can be done, but I would have to aim for that to happen. And aiming sounds like work. Why would I want to aim? Okay, yep, we don't need to do any propulsive landing here. We can just continue to physics warp to the ground. We're moving plenty slow. We don't need to burn this last 10 seconds of engine here. Absolutely nothing needed. So there's Jeb and Bill back. And that'll be absolutely fine. They're 200 meters above the surface. And splashdown. Perfect. Bill, you can go ahead and grab a surface sample. There you go. So we'll recover that. And we're able to recover a pretty sizable amount of our initial investment there. Of course, a lot of that goes into that big first stage. But we're able to recover... Yeah, like... It was $27,000 to launch it. We're able to recover a decent portion of that. That's almost a third. Not too bad. It's not great. It's not like a fully recoverable mission or anything. But there we go. We'll go ahead and fly this. And of course, we're not going to land this near the KSC just because of the situation we're in here, the timing. So we'll just go ahead and flop over to retrograde. There we go. And we don't have KER on this one for whatever reason. And we will just drop our Periapsis also down to about 20 kilometers. And that's all we need. And now we will go ahead and warp until we hit Atmo. Excellent. There's the atmosphere just as the sun is peaking up. I like it. And we will physics warp as well until we start to see heating plasma. Once again, we should be able to recover this entire thing. No problem whatsoever there. So we'll just move the decoupler up to the top. Fantastic. Still accelerating here, 2,300 meters per second. But our apoapsis and periapsis are both dropping, so that is completely fine. We will begin our re-entry burn shortly-ish. We're starting to slow back down now, and there's the plasma. So let's go ahead and do our burn. Once again, we will keep around 10 seconds in the tank, just as a bit of margin. We've got 40 seconds of burn left here. 30. 20. Okay, there we go. We'll just hold there. Drogue chutes will be ready soon. This feels like we're coming in very fast, but we are decelerating nicely. Drogue chutes can be deployed now. There we go. And mains will be available very, very soon. We can go ahead and go back to 4x time warp. SAS does not need to be on anymore. Mains can be deployed. And this is grasslands here. This is a very, very large grassland for sure. Excellent. So we are only about 1 kilometer above the surface. And we'll just land this. I don't know if we'll tip over or not. We'll see. Once again, we shouldn't need a propulsive landing. So that is fantastic. And we will just continue to drop here. There's our shadow. Excellent. The shadow can be used to gauge the actual distance to the ground if you don't have KER for the bullseye. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and drop this here. We may or may not tip over in this location. We probably will, if I had to bet. Yep, there we go. Okay. Well, Bob EVA. Oh, all hatches are obstructed. We're going to have to roll a bit. We're going to have Bob EVA, and then he'll grab a surface sample here. Yep, looks like dirt. Okay, we'll recover that. Fantastic. So what is our next mission going to be? Probably... We already did the comsat around Minmus, didn't we? We'll have to check our contracts. I'm not sure what we'll do next. Another moon mission or a Minmus landing would both be good. But our contract is complete. Let's see. Docking on or around the moon. That's something we can do. Science data from space around Minmus is super easy right now. We definitely do that. We'll grab this. A new surface outpost on the moon, huh? We're probably not going to do this. We're not really looking for moon mining. That's not our company mission. So I don't think that's what we're going to do. Satellite in a synchronous orbit of Gilly. That is a possibility. A Science Junior and a Mystery Goo out there is a lot of weight to send to Gilly at this point. I mean, we could do it. We could certainly do it. Docking on or around the moon. Okay. Well, we can do the science data from space around Minmus right now. And we also have contracts for another moon landing as well as a Minmus landing. So we're going to go ahead and grab this comsat here. And we are, of course, going to simply grab our temperature scan and transmit that. Now, it's not going to get us any science, but it will complete this contract. There we go. Nice. So back to the Space Center we go. And what do we want to do now? Well, like I said, landings are going to be useful. Here's a question, though. Do we have any science emplacements, like that you put on the surface, that we can bring to the moon? If not, we should probably go to Minmus. So, like, for example, that would be things like the passive seismometer, but we don't actually need that there because it's not tectonically active. So that's definitely something that we can think about. I mean, we don't have the science to get over this way just yet. So is there anything in these? I mean, the mobile processing lab is available. That would allow us to build an actual station, and putting that in orbit over the moon for our docking might not be the worst concept. Okay. We could work on that. So let's hop into the VAB here. And this would be based on... Do we want this to be manned? I think no is the answer for right now. So we would have this be based on like the Probodobodine Octo, or actually the Hex probably. We'll have this be based on the Hex for the moment, and we would need to have a couple of things. Specifically, we would need to have batteries. We would need to have solar panels, which our solar panels are not the greatest, but we'll just go ahead and run that. Like, we're going to need to send a power module to this thing, most likely. And then we would need to have our science. So we would need to have... We want to bring, like, all of our science, right, to process it in the science lab. So we need a Science Junior, and then we would need a service bay. And I'll just rotate this service bay like that, just so that they're actually lined up a bit. We'll go ahead and open this, and, of course, actually, we would need this to be manned, because we would want a scientist in the lab. Actually, we can just have a scientist in the lab, I think. If we go into here, we put in the mobile processing lab. Now, that's much larger, to be sure. We just do something like this. And I believe... Yeah, that has 2 seats in it. So we could just send Bob and another scientist, or just Bob for now. We can always bring more scientists to this if we want to, or take them out of there. So that'll be okay. No, I did not want to move to the spaceplane hangar. Did I just lose everything there? No, it's right here. Okay, good. Fantastic. So we're going to put our science experiments in here, and we'll put in a Mystery Goo containment unit. We don't need this to be on symmetry. We'll put that in like so. And we'll put in our barometer. And we'll put in our thermometer. We don't need experiment storage. We'll We'll put in our thermometer, like so. We will put in... We've got a Science Junior on here. Mr. Goo inline is unnecessary. We could definitely put a computer flight unit on. That's fine. Something like that. So that would do the trick there. Okay. And then we would need to be able to deliver this and dock it, right? So this will be like our core module. We will go ahead and put a docking port here, and it'll be a docking port junior right there. So we'll be able to attach to that. And we would also need something along the lines of an X16 or maybe even an X32 here. And then we would have an engine on that. So this end is going to terminate in an engine for maneuvering. And we would have this be a poodle. Like so. Okay. So that should be plenty of delta V to maneuver this thing. I'm also going to put additional solar panels on here just because I feel like it needs them. Like, even this is probably not enough. We need bigger solar panels, like fold-out solar panels. A power module would be fine, though, for that. So that'll be okay. And we're also going to put in a couple extra docking ports here. And we'll just put those in to symmetry. So we'll put a docking port here. And we'll put a docking port, like, up here. It'll block this ladder, but that's fine. We can always just use EVA suits. Not a big deal there. So, that will allow us to expand in this direction, this direction, this direction, this direction, and this direction. In theory. Now we'll need a TD25 decoupler. And we'll need to lift this thing. The question is, how do we want to do that? Well, the obvious answer is a mainsail. And that would be fuel tanks. There we go. We would need something like a big orange tank. Something like this. What would this thrust to weight look like if we were to lift this with a mainsail? And make them orange. Because orange tanks are best tanks. At least for the first stage. There we go. Perfect. What would this look like? 1.38. A little on the low side. We could do some strap-on boosters. That's not a big deal. We could just do SRBs. And some thrust limiting as well. So we'd want to use, like, radial decouplers here. And put these on. This would then be... Pollexes would be absolutely overkill. Kickbacks would maybe even be better here than Pollexes. So we drop those there, and we mix these together. This would go here, and then this would go here, hypothetically. 1.74. Yeah, that's not bad. That'll do. And then we would just put some nose cones on here. That's too big of a nose cone. This nose cone. There we go. And we would need to drop the height of these down just a wee bit. If I can select the actual decoupler. There we go. So drop these down to be roughly here. And then we just strut them together a little bit. So we'd put a strut here and just connect it to here. And honestly, this is probably fine. So we can call this the Moon Science Station. And as far as what we're going to send up there is probably just going to be the Overkill Docker, if I had to guess. Now, one thing to note is that we don't have any RCS on this. And that's okay. All we really need here is a reaction wheel, and we do have one, but this is going to be very slow to move. Very, very slow to move. That's for sure. I also want to add in one more thing, and that's a service module. Right there. Actually, is the variant shelves or open? No, this isn't what I thought it was. Never mind. We don't want this. What I thought it was going to be a container, but no, those are under cargo. Yeah, so a cargo storage unit would do the trick. We could put that up top here. What do we want to have in that? So we're going to need to, like, install components here. My previous stations have always had a problem where the docking ports aren't very steady. So what we're going to do is we are going to bring in... Oh, wow. That's exciting there. We're going to move this down. There we go. We're going to bring in some struts. Now, actually, this is not the cargo storage unit that I want to bring here. And the reason for that is it only has 3 capacity. And it's just very small. So we're going to actually put it like right here, and that'll be like a 9 container module, I think. Or maybe even a 24. A 24 will be fine. And inside of that, all we're going to bring, the entire thing that we're going to bring is struts. How many struts can we fit in this is the question. Can we pick up like multiple of these? Because this is going to be kind of tedious to fit 4 into each of these. It's a lot of struts, for sure. Can I, like... Hang on, I'm seeing if I can duplicate them by clicking in different ways. The answer is no. I really wish you could alt-click these to duplicate them. That would be really, really nice, because this is very tedious. Very tedious indeed. Okay. Well, sure. I guess this is one way to do things. It would help if I moved it over here. That would make it quicker. For sure. No, I don't want to bring cubic octagonal struts. I just want to bring strut connectors. And the entire point behind this, of course, is... I guess those don't like to stack. Okay, that's a little weird. Sure. This whole Kerbal construction system that was put in a while back has always been a little bit on the janky side, but it's okay. It definitely gets the job done. I want to go back under structural. There we go. Oh, did I grab the wrong type? Yes, the wrong color. That's, in fact, why it would not, why it wouldn't stack. That's fine. I really do wish that we could duplicate the stack. It's very tedious, no doubt about that. I think what I'm going to do is it's very close to time to put a cut in here. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And when we come back next episode, I will have this fully filled out and we'll be ready to send this up to the moon. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings. And I will see you all next time. Maybe. If I can click correctly. There we go.